It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott's here. Mary Jo Foley barely comatose because guess what? It's all Xbox news. Microsoft at E3 will throw in a little credge and the new version of Windows for the insiders, but honestly, it's all about Scarlett. Next on Windows Weekly.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley, episode 625, recorded Wednesday, June 12th, 2019. You have beautiful eyes. Windows Weekly is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect your online privacy with one click. It's that easy. For 3 extra months free with a 1-year package, go to expressvpn.com/windows. And by Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage. Thinking about moving your data storage to the cloud, Wasabi is enterprise-grade cloud storage at 1/5 the price of Amazon S3 and up to 6 times faster with no hidden fees for egress or API requests. Calculate your savings and try Wasabi with free unlimited storage for a month at wasabi.com. Offer code WINDOWS. It's time for Windows Weekly. Another day, another hotel room. Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley. And you guys, Mary Jo, you're on the road again?
We are. But now we're back in the U.S. in Washington, D.C.
And what are you and Paul doing in Washington, D.C.?
Lobbying.
Well, now I have to change the lower third again. It still says Netherlands.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I'd like the United States government to go after big tech, but not Microsoft big tech, just
That's
the other big tech.
So that's a good idea. Leave Microsoft alone.
Yeah.
They've already done the big tech, takedown with Microsoft.
They
right?
were the beginning. They were how it all began.
They were.
So what are you there for?
We're here for a conference put on by AvePoint called Shift Happens.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Say that very carefully.
Say that carefully.
Shift happens.
Okay. And what shift are they talking about?
They're talking
Mary Jo
about
Foley's favorite shift, digital transformation.
Digital transformation
Of
businesses.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's all about how businesses can modernize their operations using AI
At the end
and
of the
cloud.
sentence, Leo.
...
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been
So
thinking
it's a
about
lot of
it.
SharePoint, a lot of Office 365, a lot of my people are here.
I've been thinking a lot about digital transformation in the context of Twit.
Sure.
Because right now, we are tied down to a facility, a studio with editors and stuff. You guys, thanks to Skype, you guys can move around, and that works pretty well.
Sure. It's nice because I can look like crap no matter where I am.
Yeah.
As long as I have this
At least you
webcam,
didn't
I'm
bring
all set.
your vinyl brick wall with you. But I think between 5G networks and Elon Musk's Starlink and whatever else is coming along, high-speed internet, and I'm not talking next year, maybe in 5 years, will be widespread. Right?
Yep.
So how does that change how we do? I think what we could do could be, everybody else has moved virtual. A lot of people work at home and so forth. But studios have especially video studios, have traditionally been very limited in their. It's like the old days of the movies where you had to record on a soundstage because the camera was so big you couldn't take it outside. And then it all changed in the 60s.
It's exactly like that. That's computing in a nutshell. Remember, you used to have to go to a room.
That's right.
To compute.
Very similar, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
honestly, it's funny you're having this conversation in a way because, to me, the creation of Twit was a way to do the old school kind of TV recording on a budget relative to what a TV network.
It was the first small step away.
Yeah.
From the because Tech TV, they have redundancy, so they had $2 million plus control rooms alone.
Yeah.
And then you build sets and all this stuff. And that was only 20 years ago. Here we are. And I wonder if 5 years, 10 years
you're
from
almost to the point where you could have an iPhone or the equivalent on a tripod.
Exactly.
It is literally transformative, which I guess is why that phrase exists.
Yeah. So I see that, and it's not just in business. It's in every sphere of our lives, the digital transformation.
This is only tangentially related to this, but I just saw there was an iMovie update on iOS that adds green screen capabilities.
Yes, I saw that too. Isn't that? So
I don't know what that looks like, but I mean that's amazing.
These will be our cameras,
Right?
you know, the world will be our studio.
Yep.
And we could really, the real issue at this point is bandwidth. And
Right.
I think we're 5, maybe 10, but 5 probably years off from almost universal high-speed internet. It's pretty high-speed now. But
I know it depends on where you are, right? I mean, one of the interesting things about these last 2 shows back to back is when we were outside of Amsterdam last week, our connection there was 2 megabits.
wow.
Right. Over 2. It's 2 over 2. And now we're in a hotel in Washington, D.C., and our connection here is 100 over 100.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
that is transformative.
Yeah.
Let
No.
me tell you.
So imagine a gigabit
Mhm.
via 5G, and I think that's sort of what they're talking about.
Yep.
And I know Elon Musk's Starlink low Earth orbit satellites, 12,000 of them.
Sure.
That's going to be gigabit too, and that would cover every square inch of the Earth.
Sure.
I'll have to do everything from the hotel roof.
I'm sure the light would be any
fun.
brighter. It's fine.
I don't know. I was thinking about that this morning, and so this digital transformation is kind of happening.
Yeah.
I hate to do this to you, Mary Jo, but
I enjoy doing it to her. Let's
let
jump right in.
E3 begin.
You know what? I said to Paul, I'm like, this episode is going to be all gaming, and he's like, yeah, obviously, but that it really is. There's been almost no other announcements from Microsoft this week except gaming.
Well, how should we? Do you want to go to the swimming pool and relax, or?
No, I have some things to add in and
good.
to ask.
Oh, good.
So I'm going to be attentive.
Good.
I've got my water.
Wow.
I'm all set.
I'm impressed. Thank you.
Yeah, but Paul is going to have to do most of the heavy lifting on this because it's all gaming. It's all gaming.
Okay, so Paul does the heavy lifting. I'll do the squeeing, and,
Okay.
and you can do what Paul usually does: throw in the snarky comment from now on.
All right, let's try that.
Perfect.
It's like role playing. It'll be fun.
And just wait till what's his name gets a hold of it and puts it to the family guy.
Yeah.
It'll be all Justin Salvato, is that his name?
Yes,
Justin
I did a
Salvato.
I did a live impersonation of that today. What were you talking about, Mary Jo? It was some kind of I don't remember at the table there. She went into some kind of enterprise thing, and I was like,
Well, I have a bigger appreciation of enterprise now that we're looking for CRM, and Lisa's setting up Salesforce. I feel like, oh my God, we're now a big business or something.
You are.
So Scarlett, we knew that name.
Yep.
We knew it would be spelled with 2 T's for reasons no one knows.
Yep.
But we didn't know it wouldn't come out this year, or did we?
Yeah. You know what? When Sony announced earlier this year that their next PlayStation wouldn't arrive until 2020, maybe that should have been a clue.
Yeah.
I don't think Microsoft has ever fared well launching earlier than Sony. I guess they didn't fare well launching at the same time as Sony either, actually. But we probably should have anticipated that. I have to be honest, I did not. I was surprised by that. So I thought we were going to see the next-gen Xbox this holiday season. I think that lines up pretty neatly if you look at the release schedule thus far. The original Xbox to the S to the X to what this would have been I think it's a clean couple of years in each case, but that's not what's happening.
So the Xbox original, I remember this because I went up to Seattle for the big event, was November 2001.
That's
Right.
right. The first one.
Right.
The first one.
And
I'm
then-
talking about Xbox One especially. I'm sorry.
Well,
not-
I'm just thinking, I'm trying to think of what the cadence is. And then how long before Xbox 360? Was that 4 years? 3
It
years.
was 2005. And it preceded the PlayStation 3 by 1 year, if I remember correctly.
interesting.
That one
Okay.
didn't come out until 2006.
Okay.
The original Xbox, let's see if I can do math, which we know I can't.
Uh-oh.
So
That's gonna be a
stop.
problem.
Don't hurt
Yeah.
yourself, Paul.
No, 2013, right? The original Xbox One.
Yeah.
2015 for the Xbox One S. 2017 for the Xbox One X.
Although I would say all the ones are kind of a. I mean, there's not huge differences, are there? Or are there?
No, no. There
That's
are
a
lots.
generation.
Yeah, but that's what Scarlett is really, right? So if you look at the Xbox One X today and you say, okay, here we have this 4K console. It can technically play 4 games, but let's be serious.
Right.
It's not really hitting 4K all the time.
No.
Game makers have the ability to decide what capabilities they're going to include. They might choose frame rate over resolution. They might go in the reverse, et cetera, et cetera. So how would you fix this console, right? Obviously, it's going to be backward compatible. It's going to run the same game, same controller, same.
That was, I thought, interesting. They said it would run all the previous Xbox games, right?
Well, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. See,
Okay.
I think the one thing people are maybe misunderstanding here is that this is not a new kind of console. This is a new Xbox One, right? This is going to be the 4th Xbox One. How they brand that, I guess we'll see, but that's what this is. It's not a brand new from, greenfield development kind of new thing. It's an Xbox One. So it's going to be an evolution of the Xbox One X. Well, what would that be? Well, to me, it was always really obvious. This thing has to be 4K all the time at 60 frames per second all the time. That has to be the baseline for this thing. And that is literally the baseline for this thing. It will exceed those in certain ways, but it will exceed those in the same way that the Xbox One X was or is 4K. In other words, 8K graphics, but you're not going to get 60 frames a second. Or 120 frames a second, which is another part of it, the ability to run at 120 frames a second. It's not going to do both of those all the time. It's probably going to do both of those never together. I mean, that's not the point of this thing. The point is what I said earlier. It really is about 60 frames per second, 4K, 100% of the time. That's the baseline. And that, I feel, is reason enough to justify the existence of this product. And I think it also just speaks to the strategy with this generation of consoles, which is to keep all the backward compat and keep all of your stuff moving forward. So if you're the owner of a previous gen Xbox One, whichever version it is, you're always going to have a better experience when you buy a newer console and 100% backward compatibility. And so this is, continuing that trend. I think it's great. It's really smart. It's the right thing to do. It's the obvious thing to do. I'm surprised it's not happening this year, but that's whatever.
They say 4 times faster.
Yeah, well, Apple says 100 times faster. I mean,
It's that kind of number. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, well, you have to. I mean, aren't you always a little suspicious? Not to
That's
use the
a
Apple
large number, a round
too
number.
much. Yeah. I mean, it's like for somehow after 13 years of having iPhones, we were able to increase the battery life by 50%. It's like, really? Like what
It's
were you
magic.
doing?
It's called magic, Paul.
The Xbox is interesting to me because it's weird where Microsoft has kind of gone cheap. You get Xboxes that have traditional hard drives in them, right? And this is an area where a fairly inexpensive part could dramatically increase the performance. And I think with the Scarlett, what we're finally seeing, in addition, we don't the AMD processor will probably be very similar to what we see on the Sony side or whatever, but I think there's going to be some smarter things being done with other components in the system. This is something you see in smartphones, by the way. OnePlus does this with the ultra-fast storage on the OnePlus 7 Pro, or you see it with faster RAM on different devices.
Yeah, it's going to be GDDR6 in this.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that's
those things all
fast.
have a material impact. It's not just about the processor. It's not just about the graphics processor.
Ray tracing in the Radeon RDNA graphics.
Yeah, all the components have to step up and work in harmony for this thing to be as good as it can be. And it seems like, we'll see. We don't know the exact specs, but it seems like they're finally doing that.
I have to say, 8K kind of makes me laugh since even a year from now there won't be any 8K sets, very few.
But
maybe they can
still picture.
Yeah, maybe they can do. If they could do 8K, maybe they can actually do 4K.
Well, but that's the point. It's really 4K, and like I said earlier, literally that is the point.
Yeah.
I'm sure an Xbox One X can do a super steady 1080p.
Right.
Sure,
exactly.
I'm sure it can.
Exactly.
1440p maybe. It's not. I can assure you, when I play Call of Duty, whatever, it's not running at 4K anything. It's a much lower resolution because the frame rate really matters in games.
Phil Spencer said a weird thing though. He said we're going to continue to support discs.
I know.
That sounded odd to me.
Yeah, I right. So you were just talking earlier. I don't remember if it was before the show or during the show. I guess it was during the show about the future of 5G and fast connections and everything. And that is the future. But it's it's something I don't think Microsoft can count on, and Microsoft's customers can't count on, depending on where they live.
I guess that
yet.
makes sense. Yeah.
And I think they would just be nervous about that kind of thing. The first Xbox, didn't it ship with a? Did it ship with a modem in it? Is that true, or was it just
right.
an Ethernet?
I wouldn't be
I
surprised.
think it might have had a modem in it.
This is 2001. You didn't have broadband in a lot of places.
Yeah, I think it did have an Ethernet port.
But remember
as well.
when they announced the Xbox One, but the submarine?
Right. That guy notably no longer works.
Yeah, they said, it'll play everywhere. Well, maybe not if you're a submarine, and that was a mistake. But that was about bandwidth.
You don't want to lose the crucial military customers.
Hey, there are a lot of Xboxes in military installations all over the world. Let me tell you.
Yeah. There are probably lots of PlayStations too.
Well, maybe a few more, but yeah. So, this is not. Was there anything unexpected? I remember the rumors were there were going to be 2 versions of this.
Yeah. So nothing about that, but because we are a year and a half away,
it's a long way off.
That doesn't mean that could happen still. So.
And look how many versions of the Xbox One there have been.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a diskless version of the S only for some reason, right? So we have, 2 versions of the Xbox in market today, actually 3 technically with the diskless version. They don't have a diskless version of the 4K console. Given the size of the games we're going to see on this next console, especially, maybe... it's like installing Windows 95 on a floppy. I don't even quite understand how these things fit on disks after a while. They're going to run into some storage concerns, I would imagine. I know that Blu-rays can go up pretty high, but some of them, like the Master Chief Collection or some of these bigger games, are many tens of gigabytes. Terabyte-ish. You not terabyte. I'm sorry, 100 plus gigabyte-ish. You're going to run into some storage issues when it comes to disk-based delivery, and then the sheer amount of time it's going to take all that stuff off the disk and put it onto the console. I don't quite understand, but I don't know. He also said he said in an interview, I think it was today or yesterday, that this probably won't be the last console from Microsoft, and I sort of take that as a wink too, because I would be shocked if this wasn't the last one. This is not a business that Microsoft makes money on, hardware sales, console sales, and streaming is where they really could make a difference and really be profitable. And I think this is not just the future of gaming. I think it's the kind of the near future. This next generation may be where this transition occurs. So, we'll see. We'll see how it pans out.
Games? Did they talk about games?
Oh, Leo, did they talk about games? God, did they talk about
I kept switching to the stream of this thing and off, and I'm like, wait, they're still talking about games, millions of games.
Actually, all I see right now is people talking. This is the launch trailer.
Just talking, yeah.
Talking. Okay,
well, this is probably they're talking vaguely about the next console, I imagine.
Yeah, this is from the E3 trailer, I guess. So there is a chip. The chip is on a board. There's a man with a beard. A very odd beard. There's another. Sure. There's a screwdriver screwing in something. And here we have. Doesn't look like a.
This guy looks like an extra from the Hobbit movies.
We have voltmeter. Okay, I don't know. I'm sorry I played this. I thought it would be exciting. I thought there'd be something. I thought there'd be.
Come on. It was about gaming.
It's a bunch of people talking. So will there be 8K? Oh, there's the Halo Infinite. So this is the only launch game, right? Is it?
Is it the only launch game that we know about? Yeah, right now I think it is. I think that's accurate.
It looked like it's ray traced. The lighting looks pretty nice.
When you think about Halo, if you're familiar with the games, if you know what the graphics look like, what you're showing is immediatty familiar.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's also of higher quality, which is great. That's what you should expect of a new version of anything. It looks better. Okay, neat. Yeah, that one we won't see that until late next year. I would assume that's when the console's going to launch, second half of the year. A couple of the games they talked about aren't coming until spring next year. I don't think they have anything to do with the new console. I think it's just a kind of a schedule thing. But there's a real E3 tradition kind of a thing that I frankly have always disagreed with, where E3 has to be just about games, And I think the things that go around games are as important to gaming as the games in many ways, right? The hardware, the peripherals, and now increasingly the services. And I was really surprised by how little time the hardware got. It was really just kind of sandwiched in between a bunch of game demos, is even the game trailers is what they were.
Yeah.
It is striking to me. This is not the first year it's been like this. In fact, it's been like this for a while. It's really interesting how many games look like movies in the trailers, and you can kind of tell they're just these interactive storytelling experiences.
They're cutscene heavy, though. I mean,
even
Mortal Kombat 11 on the Nintendo Switch, which doesn't have the greatest graphics engine ever, the cutscenes look spectacular. A lot of specular highlights, and they know how to make cutscenes look good because they render them. They pre-render them.
Yeah. What you want to see is cutscenes rendered game engine.
You want to see you want to see gameplay.
Of course. Yeah.
I
mean, we did see a lot of gameplay. That's fair. And I know a lot of the stuff was exciting. There was a bizarre moment with Keanu Reeves that for some reason was really exciting to people.
Keanu reveal at the very end of Cyberpunk 2077.
I obviously has no idea what this game is about, which is hilarious. He's got kind of a disarming. No, he's cool. He's got a cool style too.
Did he put his arm around you because? There's an opportunity. There's pictures of Keanu all over the place with him, and what he does is he holds his hand out, puts his arm behind the person without touching them, and sticks his hand out straight. So it's very clear. If you look at any of the pictures, he has not touched any. I didn't touch her. It's the I didn't touch her gesture.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So my take on this,
isn't that wild? I mean,
he
probably has to, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it's important, especially these days, right?
Yeah.
I like the guy, but I mean, video games allow an actor to be any age, and I think the interesting thing is that this game with Cyberpunk or whatever it's called, it gives the game makers to create a version of this man from when he's in the Matrix movies rather than now, which I think is what many fans are kind of looking for, and so that's fine. I mean, I thought that was kind of goofy, but it's weird that him showing up at this event was, for some reason, like the biggest, most exciting part of it for people. And I don't know if that says anything negative about Xbox or whatever, but I thought it was kind of weird. I thought this game looked really crappy before they showed this guy. Like, the characters in this thing are kind of horrible looking. It just seemed awful.
Yeah.
And then they fade to a picture of him graphically in the game.
Yeah.
And then what's it called?
Cyberpunk 2077.
I think he comes up right here at the end here.
Well, I'm playing at the end because I don't want to watch the whole thing. And then it's just him, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Keanu. Whoa. That's it right there. That's the whole thing.
You guys didn't mention that Microsoft bought a gaming studio.
Not only a gaming studio, they bought Double Fine.
Yeah,
right.
Psychonauts, I know what that is. I don't.
Oh, no, Double Fine is legendary among gamers.
I will say, so from my perspective, I don't know anything about these games. Actually, this company's games mean nothing to me. But
no, they're not for you.
Yeah, but that guy walked out on stage, Average Joe, and he said something to the effect of, Microsoft called us up and they wanted to buy us, and he was like, yeah, I'll do anything you want. He's like, I can do that, Halo stuff, or I can do the XL stuff. And then they were like, no, we just want you to keep making the games.
And everybody
He's like, oh, thank God, I don't know anything about that other stuff. But
they're kind of the classic small indie game.
Yeah,
developers.
I thought that was like a genuine kind of a moment. I bet that actually happened. The way you described it.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
I thought that was that to me was actually the highlight of that keynote, or whatever you want to call that event, but the press event or whatever.
Here's Keanu getting incredible applause on stage. Incredible, man. Whoa, you guys are amazing. Rock and roll. Oh, my God. How close were you to him? Were you close, Paul? Oh, my God.
I was not there.
Oh, you weren't there. Oh, my God. They're so happy to see him. Look. This shows you how marginalized gamers still feel, even though the gaming industry makes more money than the entire movie industry. But we got this kind of B-list celebrity. Oh my god! Oh my god!
All right, so this is an interesting reminder of something that used to happen a lot in Microsoft press events like this, or conferences, whatever you want to call them, back in the day. So remember, The Rock came out at CES for one of the, I think it was one of the original Xbox events.
Yeah.
And just and Mary Jo, you might remember this too. I think it was a Comdex or something a long time ago. They had brought out like Ralph Lauren or someone from Ralph Lauren one year, and he did part of one of the Microsoft keynotes. And there was a guy from the military that came out one time, same kind of a thing.
The pink Jeep guy. Yep.
Yeah, and you have this weird moment where you realize, like, someone normal comes out on stage during an industry event, and you're like, oh my god, they're so much better than everyone we have. Like, they should do more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Because,
performers.
They're actually, the industry stuff is really stiff.
Normal people. Hallelujah.
My daughter, by the way, I tweeted this. This is somehow has become one of the biggest tweets I've ever made. This is a true story too. She came home from school one day and she said, 17, she's an iPhone user. And she said, yeah, they made us watch the original launch of the iPhone event, Steve Jobs on stage and everything. And I said, yeah, I'm familiar with it, Kelly. I don't know if you know what to do.
I cover the industry. You might have seen my blog.
This was her take on it. She said, I don't understand what everyone was so excited about.
Wow.
And she says, but I can tell you this. If they were to try to do that launch today, nobody would be excited by this.
Well, yeah.
I was like, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But it's just kind of a jaded, normal human being's viewpoint of like an industry event, which is regarded as a industry case study that we studied forever. She was like, the
youngs are not like you and me.
No. Well, she's
incidentally, Anthony Nielsen in our down the hall, one of our producers says the Keanu-sance is real, and I'm here for it.
Oh, wow.
I guess because of John Wick 3 just came out. I guess I shouldn't call him a B-list celebrity. I just feel like I still see Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure when I see it.
Okay, but have you watched the John Wick movies?
I watched the first two, yes.
Yeah, so I assume Mary Jo has not.
No, they're not her cup of tea.
Who is John Wick? I don't even know who that is.
He's a bad dude.
Clearly a comic book character.
Some guy.
Yeah. These movies are fundamentally terrible.
They're twisted.
Right?
Oh, they're awful. Yeah. Basically,
so
it's the Death Wish, theme, which is he's a nice guy. He's a dog lover, and then they killed his dog, and now he kills 450 people on screen in the most brutal way possible.
Oh, but it's slightly worse than you're describing because this occurs over 3 movies.
It keeps happening.
The puppy died at the beginning of the first movie. He doesn't stop killing people.
No, he's still mad. He's still mad.
Yeah, so it's over the top. The one thing I really like about the movies is the Continental Hotel thing, where there's this place where all the assassins just stay.
Yeah, I do like that.
But as far as like, if you actually think about the movie itself, they're actually really terrible. They're terrible movies. Like, they're just terrible. And I don't understand. Like, the notion that this guy is somehow popular because of these movies is very strange to me. But whatever, it doesn't matter. I thought he was cool. It's fine. But again, I think it was just a reminder of, oh God, like, open the windows and the doors. There's like a world out there.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's true.
Like, if you actually look outside of this little world we're in, like, there's neat stuff out there, And it just, to me, it makes all of the other presenters and all of the other content like all the less interesting. This is something Microsoft used to do a lot.
This is the John Wick kill count.
Jeez.
I think in one movie he kills 124 people with guns, 32 with swords and knives, 3 by horses, 1 by axe, 3 by motorcycle. Kills one guy with a book.
Yep.
And the dog kills another guy. So, geesh. This is not a movie for Mary Jo.
This is not my cup.
Not your cup.
What about the pencil? How many pencil kills?
Choked by wire, broken neck, a 2011 Dodge Charger, 6 people. Guns, bomb detonation. Oh, maybe the pencils are an other.
No, they're going to have to call it the pencil. The pencil is central to the mythology of the story.
Uh-huh.
Never kill a man's dog.
Yeah. So he killed. This is in the first one. 77 people killed. Never kill a man's dog is the moral of that story. Yeah, it's pretty. But that's why Keanu's hot. And I take your point, Paul, is that you know what? We're still nerds. Again. I know. But again, we may have made more money than Hollywood.
We run the world.
Yeah. Google, Facebook, and Amazon and Apple are the most valuable companies ever conceived by human beings. But we're still outcast nerds.
In Europe.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
We're still outcast nerds, and who want acceptance. And if somebody like Keanu Reeves comes on stage, man, we've made it. We're big. We're big.
Just a little clue, people. Anyone can be bought, and the gaming industry has enough money, to make that happen. Anyway, it was an interesting moment.
Yeah,
it was an interesting moment.
And you know what? It's E3, and actually, this is why I kind of got over E3. I noticed neither of you went either. Because
I wanted to go. It was between these two trips. There was just no way I could go to LA in the middle of this.
I didn't want to go. I had no intention of going.
To me, it became disappointing because everything is something coming next year.
Yeah. So a lot of this stuff was supposed to be sooner than it ended up being, right?
Scarlett, for sure.
I mean, the console was a surprise. By the way, it's interesting that both Sony and Microsoft, I don't want to say delayed because I don't really have any information that it was supposed to happen. I think a lot of people assume this year. Aren't they both running off the same basic AMD architecture? Is that what was delayed? I mean, does that have something to do with it? I don't know, but I did expect that to happen this year. I don't have a count off the top of my head. There were some number of games that aren't happening until the spring. That's true of every E3, honestly.
Right.
There are a bunch of big games coming out this year for sure. There was a bunch of stuff that Microsoft announced that's coming out this year. So it's kind of a mix. I mean, obviously, ideally, this stuff hits the holiday season this year.
So
there was also some confusion about after E3 happened when xCloud would actually be available to testers, right? At first, it felt like it wasn't going to be this year, but now it looks like it is going to be available this year.
Yeah.
In preview.
I mean, they had said earlier it would be.
But then I thought at the keynote that got a little muddy. I saw some stories saying, "So wait, is it not going to be this year?"
So this, So the thing. I think most people were probably anticipating from this keynote because Microsoft literally explicitly telegraphed that it was happening. Was where we are, Google went out, they did their Stadia thing. This is from back in March, not the more recent thing. And said, and they went big today, whatever day that was, and we're going to go big at E3. This is what Phil Spencer said.
Right.
And then he got up on stage and never mentioned xCloud at all. He mentioned I don't want to call it a service. It's more of a feature of the Xbox One console. That sounds a little bit like a step toward xCloud and isn't really, but the ability to stream Xbox One games from the console to another device.
Yeah.
That's coming as a feature of the Xbox probably in the fall update or whatever.
Right. So that's a game streaming service that you have if you're an Xbox user, right?
Yeah. I don't want to call it a service because there's no it's just going to be a feature of the Xbox. It's something you can do. It's basically remote desktop, but to a different device.
Yeah.
That feature kind of already exists. I mean, we've had things like this. We've had smart glass. This is, I'm not even sure what the whole point of that was, but I think that he tried to present that as an xCloud-like something because it's streaming, I guess. I don't know. But it's not streaming from the cloud. It's local streaming. It's streaming from your console to the device nearby. So, that's fine. So you can play an Xbox One game on, I'm sure, a Windows PC, and then he kind of hinted that through mobile device software, probably a phone of some kind or a tablet. And great. That's fine. Not xCloud. So, the fact that they said they were going to talk about xCloud, and then just days ago, Google announced more details about Stadia, which games are going to be available, what the price was going to be, by the way. Oh, and that the price is going to be really reasonable, actually. They announced a Founders Edition that has, bundles a controller with a Chromecast Ultra and I think 3 months of the service. Suggested that, of course, Microsoft's going to go big at E3, and nothing. They didn't say anything. I can't believe it. Now, there's a part of me that thinks that, all right, and I wrote this. I mean, there is a thing at E3, there's a mob of sorts of gamers who don't like anyone going to this thing and talking about anything other than games. They think it has to be just about games. They don't want to hear about hardware. They don't want to hear about future consoles, and they certainly don't want to hear about your stupid cloud streaming service. I mean, it's kind of a strange thing to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's 100% of the reason or whatever, but the problem I have with it is that Microsoft was going to talk about it, and then they didn't. And unfortunately, that looks bad because Google just went way bigger last week when they announced all that stuff. Google
Stadia.
gave a lot of details.
Yeah,
I have to say the Google thing looks pretty good. And for Microsoft not to follow that up is a little bit alarming.
Yeah.
Do you think though it might be because they're just trying to stretch out the build up to the announcement, and they're like, okay, if we disclose everything now, when we actually have this available, fall or whatever for testing, we won't have a big reveal type thing.
No, I don't. I no.
You don't? Okay. Okay.
No, and
that was
the
just
reason
a guess.
is that, there's too much precedent for this kind of a thing. Think about Apple, for example. Just had WWDC. They announced a bunch of new software features in all of their major platforms. That stuff is available today on existing devices, but there's some stuff that will be better or different when you have new devices that they haven't talked about yet. And so when the fall comes and the iPhone 11 comes out or whatever, they're going to have all these new features that are going to be built into iOS 13 that they didn't talk about at WWDC, plus all the stuff that they did. This is how industry things happen. I mean, and it happens in gaming too. There's no reason you can't provide some information now and then provide more when it actually launches.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't understand it. I'm really surprised by this. And I think so. The thing is, they talked around xCloud enough that it kind of makes me wonder, because one of the announcements, for example, was that backward compatibility was over, that Microsoft is not going to go find any more original Xbox games or Xbox 360 games and convert them and potentially enhance them for use on Xbox One. They're not going to do that anymore. Instead, what they're going to do is focus that program on xCloud, because that's a big component of this service as well. It has to run all the games, or as many of the games as possible that came before. And that sort of suggests xCloud is kind of like Xbox One in the cloud, right? That it's a literal, software match for what we have today.
Yeah,
that's kind of interesting. It kind of makes that Xbox One streaming feature we just talked about a little more like xCloud than maybe it seems like on the surface. It just kind of makes me wonder. They talked around it.
I saw. I think this was on The Verge, where they did an interview with Phil Spencer, and I thought he gave a really good explanation of what xCloud is. This is what he said: xCloud is putting Xbox motherboards in an Azure data center and allowing you to connect to those motherboards and play games on hardware that is ours.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's
pretty clear, right?
That puts my guess to fact, I guess. So.
Yeah.
And maybe that Xbox hardware he's talking about is current gen Xbox One X. Is it some kind of pre-version of Scarlett? We don't know that, but
right.
This is a system that should be able to scale up and down according to the performance and graphics capabilities and your connectivity speed and so forth of whatever device you might be using. So I would assume that hardware is going to be on the high end side.
Yeah, you would think.
Right? Yeah, I would think, but who knows?
Although, if it is like a typical service in an Azure data center, it should be something where you can swap out for more advanced hardware as it becomes available, right? Yep. Yeah,
and it would benefit from the same thing that all cloud services benefit from it, which is that you don't have to update on the client,
right?
To get better, better graphics, better performance, whatever it is. They can do one upgrade, hardware upgrade in this case, on the server side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Xbox in the cloud.
And I know you're an Xbox Elite controller owner, Paul. Are you excited about the new one? We've been talking about the new one for a while. We thought it was coming out sooner, right? 2 years? Oh, my.
Yep. This is today I believe it's a $150 controller. It's not inexpensive.
Do you like it?
I love it.
Yeah.
The new one, but the thing. So here's the problem. And I don't know if you have a picture, you can show up the new version.
Yeah, let me get it for you.
They're similar looking, but if you think about how an Xbox controller works, it has these two kind of shark fins, that you kind of wrap your hands around. And on the Elite controller, those are coated in a really grippy, kind of a rubbery, nice textured material. On my controller and on others, that material becomes unglued because, of course, you're gripping the thing with a death grip as you play. And you can see you can see them on the bottom left and right there. On that controller, this is the new version, that area is actually smaller than it is on the original Elite controller, which is probably for the best. But that's been a source of some issues for some people, including myself. And then, otherwise, I would say, they have some profile configurations in hardware for games. You can see the three white dashes in the front there. So you can have your custom controller set up for individual games, with hardware presets, which is kind of neat. Kind of like, when you have like a nice luxury car and you can have like 3 seats, seat settings, in the front seat for the driver. But other than that,
in this case, you're always the driver. It's the game that's changing.
It's the game. You're changing the game, not the driver. Yeah.
I like the interchangeable parts of the original Elite. This will be the same as that, right?
Tell you what, though, man, you drop one of these things on the floor, and it's like dropping a Lego house. The thing explodes into a million pieces.
It's like the VW thing. It's just nothing but parts. Yeah.
So unfortunately, this one is also more expensive. So it's going to be $180. And boy, I don't know. Because of the issues I had with the original Elite controller, I eventually went over to a custom controller I designed through the Xbox Design Labs, and that's just your basic Xbox One S style controller. It doesn't have any particular, it's not well built or anything. It's just typical plastic parts, whatever. But it's fine. I mean, I don't know. I'm this one, obviously they brought it up to date with the new stuff. It has Bluetooth, which the original one didn't. USB-C for power, which is kind of interesting. Built-in battery, which you cannot remove, which I'd have to. I'm not at home. I can't really even look at my other one right now. But I think the other one just uses the standard pop-off battery back, where you can use normal batteries or rechargeable batteries. And it comes with a charging stand. It looks like, or a charging base, I guess we call that. I don't know. It's I waited so long for this. I wanted one of these for so long. They finally announced it, and I was like, "Oh, geez, $180. I don't know."
But Paul, it'll make you $180 better.
There you go. There you go.
That's what really matters.
Will it help me drop claymores more easily in Call of Duty?
Yes,
because
everything.
if it will, maybe.
It just tells you something that they feel like the gaming industry. I mean, gamers will play that much. It's amazing.
Well, they will, and
they will.
I think
of course they will.
Yeah, there's a healthy market for high quality mechanical switch gaming keyboards, high quality gaming mice, high quality gaming controllers. I mean, this market's real. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mean it's too expensive. No one's going to buy it. People are going to buy this.
Yeah.
It may be too expensive for me. I don't know. I don't know.
You're not dedicating your life to gaming, Paul.
Well.
Maybe you are, huh? Oh.
We'll see.
Maybe he is.
We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. What else we got? What else happened at this thing? So you mentioned Halo Infinite. That's going to launch with the new console. This wasn't mentioned in the keynote, but Microsoft revealed sometime afterwards, right afterwards, that we know that the Halo games are coming. The existing Halo games, the Master Chief Halo games, are all coming to the PC as part of the Master Chief collection. We know that Microsoft's going to work on them in chronological order, according to the in-game chronology, that is. So the first one will be Halo Reach, which was kind of a prequel, I guess, and then working up all the way through, I think, Halo 4 or 5. I can't remember which was the last one they agreed to do. 4, I guess. The thing is, Master Chief Collection is a big game, big set of games. It's expensive. Of course, the games are not all available right away. And so if it's September and the first one's available, or December, or whenever it's coming out, I mean, you're going to pay $60 or whatever it is or more to get one game with the promise of future games. And so what they've decided to do is make all of the games available separately so you can buy them individually, which I think was a really nice thing to do. And also the games are really inexpensive. So most of them are $9.99. on the PC, and then Halo 3, I think I got it, ODST, I think was the name of it. ODST, I think was the name. It's actually not a Master Chief title, but it was it was a separate game, but it was like a side mission that occurred during Halo 3, but from the perspective of another team of combatants. It was actually a fun game, as I recall. It's going to be $4.99. So those are good prices. Like that's kind of cool. So that's nice of them. And then they also announced, let's see, the latest versions of Gears of War, which is Gears of War is Gears 5 now. They're dropping the of War part of that for some reason. And then a new flight simulator, which seems to be one of those games that kind of comes and goes at Microsoft for whatever reason. I thought they had gotten rid of, I thought they sold it or something. I thought Flight Simulator wasn't even their property anymore, but I guess it's back. And if you didn't see the demo of Flight Simulator, by the way, you should watch that. This is a truly impressive looking, I don't want to call it a game, it's more of a simulator, but it has like photorealistic versions of real world places, and it uses real world mapping data and everything, and it looks super, super impressive.
It's not ray tracing will be really cool, I think.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. If I could like strafe the highway in that thing, that might be interesting. It's just about drugs. Yeah. But the big thing for me, I would say, because we didn't get xCloud news, was that Microsoft opened up both Game Pass Ultimate and Game Pass for PC. And actually, it kind of makes sense now, although disappointingly, they're not currently offering a deal if you pay for it well in advance. So in other words, instead of going month to month, where it's $15 for Game Pass Ultimate, you could go, say, a year and then save, $20 or $40 or whatever. Right now, those prices are exactly the same. Like it works out as $15 a month, no matter which version you get. But the way that this works is Game Pass Ultimate, Game Pass for PC rather, is, as the name suggests, Game Pass on the PC. There will be over 100 games sometime this year. I don't know that there are that many now. It is a pretty good selection of games. $9.99 a month, I believe, is the price for that. But if you go Game Pass Ultimate, you get Game Pass for PC, you get Game Pass for console, and you get Xbox Live Gold, and that's $15 a month. And actually, at that price, assuming you will do gaming on both systems, that's a pretty sweet deal. That seems like a really good deal. So I actually upgraded to Game Pass Ultimate, and I'm going to give that a go. I don't really have, let me think about it before I say this. I guess I do have a couple of gaming class PCs. I have a gaming laptop I could try this on. I've got a kind of a backpack PC. I'm obviously like an Xbox guy, but I'm kind of looking into this. I think the interesting thing about this to me is that it does to gaming. It has the potential to do to gaming what Netflix did to movies, what Spotify did to music, where instead of owning these things, a game comes out at $60, you pay, you own it, you bring it around with you, it goes from console to console, whatever. You're essentially renting content. And if the content is there that you want, or the content is there that's good, and maybe it's something you've never tried before and you can just try it, I think it's interesting. The fact that this stuff is not streaming, I think, is a huge problem. I think the content availability is a huge problem. The fact that they actually take away content over time could be a problem, depending on what your needs are. But what this reminds me of, I was trying to find a parallel to this, and I realized, years ago I had gone out and I was visiting friends in France, and these people were very interested in Netflix at the time. And this was Netflix before they had all this original content. And so if you remember Netflix from back in the day, it was just they had a couple of decent movies, a couple of decent TV series. A lot of the rest of it was kind of B-level stuff. It was a lot of stuff that was like straight to video movies. And so these, to get this internationally, back when it wasn't available outside of the United States, you had to have like a U.S. credit card. You had to use a VPN, to even access the service. And then they kind of got it all going, and they were like, "Yeah, but I don't want to see these things. Like, I thought I could come in here and say this is the movie I want to watch, and it's not there, And I think that's where these things are right now. Like, it's depending on what you want. It may not exactly meet your needs, but the goal for this thing, and the goal for the future of this thing, which is xCloud, is that it is that on-demand, awesome Uber service that has exactly what you want, So we'll see. And I guess in my case, obviously, I play Call of Duty. So Call of Duty is not involved in this. Why would they be? They're huge on their own. They don't need to be part of this. But for people like me who do want to play that kind of game, today, what we'll call Game Pass, whatever version of it, or in the future, xCloud, whatever that is. And actually, by the way, I think xCloud, when it comes out, it's going to be called Game Pass. I think xCloud is Game Pass. I think it's the future of Game Pass. I think
that makes sense.
I think it's the streaming version of Game Pass. It really hinges on the quality and volume of the content. And, these are early days. And so right now, I don't know. It depends. It depends on what you want.
I wonder if the Netflix analogy holds, then I wonder, so the issue would be that the game companies are not letting Microsoft put it on the cloud. The way Netflix solved this is with originals. That's right. What's going to happen here?
So it's funny, that's already happened, right? So all of the Microsoft Studio games are available day and date on these services, right? And so if you're an whatever they call it, Xbox Game Pass subscriber today, and Gears 5 comes out in September or whenever it's coming out, you'll get it on your subscription that day. And that is literally the Netflix originals strategy, right? And then Microsoft's doing it the same way too. They've bought a ton of gaming studios over the past year and a half. Mm-hmm. And they're still, they're buying more and more as we go forward. And that, all that does is increase both the quantity and the quality of what's available on the service. I suppose it's like, these analogies are never perfect. I mean, but, Disney are obviously on Star Wars, and Disney's launching their own service, and Disney's going to put Star Wars on their service, and they're going to put Marvel on their service. But, if I think of like Call of Duty as like the Star Wars of video gaming, I mean, I would imagine Activision is going to start their own service, or and maybe they'll have a Call of Duty service, or whatever it is. And unfortunately, for the bigger things, you're never going to have like that one service that is everything you want, unless you happen to be a Halo guy, I guess, or or a Gears guy, or whatever, or Forza guy. I mean, in those cases, you're all set because that stuff's all in the Microsoft service. But it's just this is a gamer by gamer thing, and I think these companies are all going to do whatever they can to get as much good content as they can, so that they can compete. I mean, I look at the Stadia stuff, for example, that Google has. A lot of interesting stuff, but when you look at these new services, especially not just Google's but Apple's, it's the exclusives that I think are going to really define these things for people, because you can have games that are just available everywhere, and that's cool. It's fine. I think it's great. In fact, I wish all games were available everywhere. But the reality is, from a competitive standpoint, these companies want to have as much exclusive content as they can. And that's an area where Microsoft has not done well over the past several years. So they're really stepping it up, and you can see that in those acquisitions.
Stadia seems to me so weak that I don't think Microsoft need to worry about it. But maybe it's not aimed for the same people who own Xboxes and play PCs. I mean, Microsoft, like Sony, has hardcore gamers. I don't think Stadia is going to compete for those.
Yeah, I mean, just the nature of the thing, right? I mean, the hardcore gamers, there's two levels of them. I think there's going to be the people who buy the high-end consoles, the 4K consoles today, and then obviously gaming PC gamers. I mean, you can scale up on a gaming PC as far as you want to go. I mean, and that's never going to be available. And well, I should never say never. It's playing that kind of a game on an iPhone isn't going to be impossible, I guess, because you could stream it, but it's not going to be anytime this year, either. So, yeah, we'll see. The Stadia thing is a little confusing because I think there's a really healthy market and a well-defined market for casual gamers that, across phones and whatever. There's really well-defined market for console gamers, and there's a really well-defined market for PC gamers. And so what's the Stadia market? It's like something that's kind of in between phone and console. Is it a thing? Is there room for this? I don't know.
And you know what? Google's going to lose interest in about 3 years. They'll kill it.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's the Google way.
Yeah, but you know what? You would have gotten a Chromecast. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I got a Chromecast for $120, but I got a Chromecast. Yeah,
and a goofy looking controller.
A goofy controller, right? That I didn't really need, because can't you use other controllers? I think you can.
Yeah, you can.
I looked for 1 second at that Founders Edition. And I thought, that is the worst. That's a terrible purchase. That's a terrible buy.
So on that note, I bought one. But
of course you did. You have to. That's your job.
Yeah.
No, but he bought it. Wait, he bought it when we were out in Amsterdam having a drink, so he.
I don't want to buy that.
No, wait, he buys it. Then I go, so what did you just buy? He goes, yeah, I guess I should look and see what I just bought.
Not much. A Chromecast Ultra, a console, and a game. The game that you don't want, by the way.
3 months of the service.
Yeah, 3 months of service. And Destiny 2. I guess you won't be playing that much.
Well, so here's the thing. Unfortunately, when you buy something, unfortunately for Google, I should say, when you buy something like this that far out, it gives you plenty of time to reassess that decision.
Yeah. And I mean, technically, I guess I bought it because I paid for it. I won't, much like Google Glass, Jason Howell will be getting it, but he'll be reviewing it. Somebody had to review it. But and it comes out of my pocket, I guess, but it's not something I would have bought. It didn't seem like a very good deal to me.
By the way, a little news bulletin in case you haven't seen this. Google just leaked its own Pixel 4.
Oh, no. It's not out till October, Google.
They did it on purpose. Look at Made by Google. Look at the Made by Google Twitter handle. It says, well, since there seems to be some interest, here you go. Wait till you see what it can do. Hashtag Pixel 4 with some pictures.
That's interesting strategy. Why not just lean into it? Right? I mean, but the renders that were leaked weren't very convincing at all.
What's the Twitter handle?
Made by Google.
Made by Google.
Here, I'll show you.
Oh, I typed in Made by Pixel like a jerk.
It does have a square camera. Looks like 2 lenses, a sensor. Yeah.
So that's real. So that's funny. Those were
real renders, case renders.
Yep.
That looks terrible.
Unboxing Therapy had it. He probably got it from the usual suspects. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That is so that's an interesting strategy. If you can't
Well, by the way, there have been stories about how the Pixel 3 line has not sold as well as its predecessors. This I don't mean to say it confirms it, but it further suggests
put the 3A out less than a month ago.
Yeah, but that's a low-end device. I mean, you don't tease the next phone when your current phone is still like you just don't. Why would on earth would you ever do that?
You know.
That's a weird thing to do.
I wonder if the plan is to release it sooner than October. October's just. I mean, nobody said when they're going to release it. October's just the normal, cycle for Google right after Apple.
So by the way, since we're on this topic, I will say. I think that one of the biggest mistakes Google ever made was aligning their product release cycle to Apple's, because their processor that they use comes out the previous January. So by the time they ship a device in October, November, they are among the last companies on earth to use that last generation device processor. And then 30 days goes by and Qualcomm announces a new one. And then the Samsungs and the whoever else start releasing new devices in February. Apple releases new devices in September, but Apple's processors aren't going anywhere else. No one is using them back in February. Like the Pixel should launch in February, not in November or October or whenever they're doing it. That is the completely wrong release cycle. They really screwed that up.
I mean, did they do it because of holiday? Is that part of the reason why too?
I honestly believe they do it so they can come in right after Apple. I think they foolishly thought they were going to steal sales away. Like, oh look, we stole their thunder.
Samsung has two. They do the Galaxy S and then they do the Note. So every 6 months they've got a new phone, which I think is actually not a bad idea. Maybe Google's planning that with the low price like they did with the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 3a. That'd be an interesting.
Unfortunately, because they hit at the end of the product cycle or the processor cycle, so they're the last major device to launch on last year's processor. It's just the wrong. It's just wrong. Yeah. That's the terrible time to do.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Luckily for you two, you can't order it right now.
Yeah.
Fortunately for all of us.
The Homer Simpson buys a computer and and he's got it in the car and he drives by and there's an ad for the next version.
No!
Yeah, that's Google. That's every Pixel. It's like, here's our new computer, our new phone. Oh, here's the new Qualcomm processor that made the thing you just made look stupid.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
really dumb.
All right, let's move on. What
right.
else do we want to say? What else do we want to talk
I think
about
that's
here?
most of the E3 stuff. Have we missed anything from E3?
No, I think you're good.
No.
Let me do an ad.
Yeah.
Let me do an ad. Because we got to pay for all this great stuff Paul and I are going to be buying.
Exactly.
Somebody's
That's
got to pay for it. Thank God we have great sponsors like ExpressVPN. You know about VPNs. I'm sure everybody who listens to our shows knows about and possibly uses them. Although I always get questions. Which's the best VPN? Now I'm going to tell you. I'm going to answer that question. But before I do, let me tell you what you're looking for in a virtual private network. The point of a virtual private network, of course, is you run it on your computer or your phone. As you access the internet, your data, everything you do, including all the metadata, is encrypted from your computer to a server, the VPN server, which is somewhere out there in the real world, and then it goes out onto the public internet. The advantage of doing this is anybody in proximity to you, whether it's a bad guy sitting at the internet cafe next to you, or in the hotel you're staying at, Paul and Mary Jo, or at home even, your ISP, or on the road, your carrier. All of them spy on you in a variety of ways. The bad guys might be trying to steal information. The ISP and the carriers, we know they are interested in where you're going and what you're doing because they could sell that to marketers. So there's lots of reasons people want to make that private. You need a VPN provider with a commitment to your privacy, somebody who doesn't log, somebody who keeps no information about you so that you are truly private. Oh, ideally be somebody fast with servers all over the world. Well, this is another advantage because you'd emerge on the public internet, eliminating any geographic restrictions on content you want to look at. So let's pull all that together. Who is the VPN provider that does all of that? Number one rated VPN service, according to Tech Radar, comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's ExpressVPN. They are so private. In fact, there have been court cases where ExpressVPN, has been subpoenaed. They're offshore, but they could still be subpoenaed. And they responded to the subpoena with all their logs, which contain nothing. It's empty because they don't track you. So we know they don't track you. There's proof. Protect yourself from privacy invasion, from cyber criminals. Protect your privacy by encrypting your data, hiding your public IP address, and do it with the best service out there. They have one-button apps. You just push a button, you're protected for every platform. Well, that's another criterion you're going to look for is the ease of use. Download the app, install it, boom. Push the button, you're on VPN. Turn it off, you're off. It's that easy. Number one by Tech Radar, 30-day money-back guarantee. And right now I've got 3 extra months free for you when you buy a 1-year package, again, with a 30-day money-back guarantee at expressvpn.com/windows. Spell it out, EXPRESS, expressvpn.com/windows. 3 extra months free with a 1-year package. Thank you, ExpressVPN, for doing it right, for doing the thing everybody is looking for, unlike some of those other guys. expressvpn.com/windows. And we thank them for their support, and thank you for supporting us by using that special URL. Credge News. We can't do a whole show without Credge News.
We can't.
What is the latest from the edge of the Credge?
From the Credgeinator.
The Credgeinator.
Yeah. So you know how there was the Canary build of Credge available for the Mac not too long ago? Well, now the dev channel is also available for the Mac. But you know what's still not available? Credge for Windows 7. Still not officially released.
Probably release it in January.
Yeah, really. Right when it's out of support. Yeah, that would be perfect timing. But I'm still running.
Maybe they don't intend to. Maybe they
they do.
They do.
They're gonna. Yeah. I've got Credge, a leaked build of Credge running on my Windows 7 machine at home, and it works great.
Hey, does that ever get updated? Do you?
I haven't tried updating it because I was scared they'd block it or something, so I haven't tried.
You'll just go back to IE or something.
Yeah, and it works really well, and I haven't had any problems with it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep on that leaked build until they finally release an official dev build for Windows 7.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's about it on Mac, right? I mean,
do they already come with that Internet Explorer window in Credge? Is that already built in?
No, I don't believe
No,
so.
IE. It's not. I thought IE mode was there for Canary. No.
I don't think so. I could be wrong. I don't believe so.
Yeah, they've talked about it anyway. They've talked about IE mode being in, like a tab in the browser, which is a good way to handle that.
Yep. This is something they denied for years and years. Microsoft always had an IE version issue, and then of course they went to Edge and created a whole new issue. And they never really offered an elegant solution for companies, especially because those are the ones who have those issues, to keep using a previous version of IE. So there was the transition away from Windows XP and IE6, which was a big deal. And I don't remember after that there was whatever. I can't tie IE versions to Windows versions anymore. But as we move off of Windows 7, this is going to happen again. They must be stuck on what, IE 11 or 12 or 2000? I don't remember.
I think 11, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You know what you can get on the Mac?
What?
iCloud for for Apple. It's in the App Store, which is weird.
I have this as a pick. So I will talk.
I won't. No,
yeah, because there is an interesting side story to that.
Okay, good. Forget I said anything.
Nope, that's okay.
I should have scrolled down.
Well, I debated putting it up in the.
I'm looking for more stuff because honestly,
I know
we're almost done.
I know.
I'm trying to stretch here.
I can really stretch the enterprise pick if you want me to.
No, it's okay. Please, no, please.
This has been a weird week. So, like Mary Jo said, I mean, obviously Monday or like Sunday into Monday, kind of explosive news cycle there for the Xbox, and then
there was a lot.
There has been nothing else ever since. Yeah.
How about this one from Huawei? They've decided not to announce their new laptop. They're putting it off indefinitely.
Right, and that's a shame because their MateBook X laptops are unbelievably good.
And is there any compelling reason, spying on you that you think the MateBook, no American should buy a MateBook?
Yeah. Well, actually, I know the MateBook X is spying on me because it has that little peekaboo camera in the keyboard.
Oh yeah.
Like you can probably as you're typing, it kind of just
comes up. You know what? That's a really good point. Of all of the laptops that have cameras with no shutter, the MateBook has a camera that's in the keyboard that is in its normal position, blocked. It's hidden. It's inside the computer.
Yeah.
It's looking at your hard drive to see what you're doing.
Yeah, it's looking internally. Exactly.
I mean,
how they bypass the encryption.
I'm really.
Oh boy.
I understand why maybe network equipment you want to be a little careful with. I understand that. Maybe the phone, although it seems to me if the phone were doing anything nefarious, you'd know.
Yep. This is not something that could remain hidden when there are millions of these things out in the world.
No, and laptops.
I know.
For crying out loud.
So the other thing with Huawei is because of this U.S. blacklisting, Huawei actually came out and publicly stated something. I've been sort of asserting this for a while, and people still remain confused by this. But I said, you understand that Huawei is going to surpass Samsung sometime within the next calendar year to become the world's biggest maker of smartphones. What are you talking about? I've never even heard of Huawei, So then this U.S. stuff happens. And, maybe this, maybe not. And they actually came out and said we had anticipated that we would have become the world's biggest maker of smartphones in the fourth quarter of this year. And now it's going to take a little longer.
And meanwhile, Apple says, Foxconn says we can make iPhones outside of China. We can supply the world's demand outside of China.
Probably in that place in Texas they have.
No, Taiwan, Korea, Singapore.
I was kidding.
Yeah, right. That place in Texas. They never said, by the way, remember when they released the Mac Pro in 2013, what a big deal they made about making it in Texas and the problems they had?
You know that was a complete failure, right?
Complete. I got the first one. It failed. I had to send it back. It was poorly made. And they didn't say anything about the new Mac Pro, about where they'll be making that one.
Sure.
I'm guessing China. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you watch the 60 Minutes piece on rare earth minerals?
No, but I did hear about that.
China controls almost all of them.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing they don't, they're not vengeful or anything.
It's also a good thing they don't care about the environments because it's really hard to get that stuff.
It's true. It's nasty. It's a nasty process.
Yeah.
But thank God somebody doesn't care about the environment. That's all I'm saying. Thank God there's children somewhere who are willing to mine borax. I'm just saying.
Sheesh.
Sheesh.
A little sassy. You guys have any of that?
I can't even eat chocolate anymore because of the
Nope.
we know too much.
Yeah.
I was ignorant.
Sure.
And ignorance was bliss.
Yeah.
I mean, I think to be a gadget lover of any kind, you have to be a little bit, to turn a blind eye to the reality.
Paul, to live, you can't eat meat.
Yeah,
Mary Jo knows this, right?
No.
You can't use electronics. You can't walk outside because your skin will fry.
Yeah.
But you can get credge on Macintosh. That's
right.
true.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
You can also get for the 7 people in the audience or less who are using Windows 10 on our machine. You can also get a leaked version of Credge.
Oh, that's our HP Envy, right?
Yeah.
That we like, our X2, right, Mary Jo? You pull that out a lot whenever you need to go on a train trip.
When I'm looking for something,
I gave mine back.
Oh, did you? Okay. I bought mine. I couldn't.
When the Surface Go is just too powerful.
Actually,
the HP Envy X2.
I brought the Surface Go in because it was just sitting in a stack, ironically right above the Surface, the Envy X2. But then I realized, oh wait a minute, this is actually an Intel chip.
Right.
So it's still pretty sluggish.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not suggesting otherwise.
And I got the eMMC one.
Yeah.
The SSD one. I got the good one.
Yeah, the high-end one has the faster storage, right? Which
but it's still,
I'm sure helped.
Yeah,
it's not great.
Yeah.
Sluggish.
Like right now, Windows Hello.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. 4.
By the way, the Pixel 3a XL that I have is like that, right? So, a little sluggish. Oh, cute.
Well, I've just solved the speed issues.
Did you say you just upgraded on that to 1903?
And I've been running it all through the show. It is just green screened on me for no reason.
Oh no, there's a reason, Leo. What is?
It's an insider build, so that's the problem.
Does it say what does it say?
It says we're collecting some error info. Then we'll restart for you. 25% complete.
Below that, though, does it actually explain what the issue is?
No.
It just gives me, what is it?
The stop code was driver IRQL not less or equal. Oh, it had an interrupt conflict. Wow, I haven't had one of those in a few years.
Wow. Great.
Wow. I wish that weren't so small. I can't quite read it.
This is all the performance of things is sort of, depends on what you're used to, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, no one is used to waiting and waiting for stuff like that.
Not in this day and age. Yeah.
I didn't want to screen. I'm used to. I'm insider, so it should be. That's normal that it would do that. I don't. Right?
No, but
right?
Not really.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
I got an interrupt conflict. That's what I got.
Oh.
I do like the color.
Check your IRQs, Leo.
Yeah. Let me see where the serial port on here is.
Yeah, exactly.
Where is that? It's here somewhere.
Sure.
What's the other thing is I forgot I'd put a 256 gig micro SD card in there. So I'm glad I recovered it. Oh, what?
I was going to say, wasn't there? I think they fixed that though. Something about having the SD card in when you go to 1903.
Oh, they fixed that, didn't they? Oh, but maybe not. But I wasn't doing an update. It was just sitting there.
Right, you weren't doing an update. Yeah.
No. Now it's really just sitting there.
Oh boy.
Hello. Oh, there it is. Hello. See, it's me. It knows it's me. I love that.
Mighty big bezels you got there, Leo.
Those are some big bezels for a little computer. It's pretty.
There you go.
It's got the screen is actually quite nice.
It is.
I think it's a beautiful screen. But
that background photo is beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Oh, I thought it was your photo.
Oh, I wish. No, mine aren't that good. I don't know where it came from.
Yeah, you can see how slow that is when you do that.
Yeah, right? Looks like Vietnam. Looks like Mary Jo right there in the.
It does.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's me.
So I don't know what I don't. Let me see what version of Windows. Would I be able to see the? I would, wouldn't I? In the system, I'd be able to see what.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, it's 1903. Oh, it's 18362. It's not whatever the new 20H1 is.
No, that
Is that
1862 is.
18 is 20. It's actually 20H1, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I think so. Yeah.
All right, well, I'm happy. Yeah, it's just a little sluggish. I don't know. Maybe I'm a speed freak. I don't know.
18362. That's just.
No, that's 1903, isn't it?
That's 1903.
Yeah, it says I'm an insider, but I don't have an insider. I don't live the insider life.
Hey, which ring are you on? Are you fast?
Yeah.
or
What if are you in?
So I did
release
something
preview?
that was probably stupid.
I don't know.
I realized I was getting 20H1.
Yeah.
So I went into the Windows Insider Program tab and I switched it off.
Oh.
But now I'm on release preview. So
That's fine. So it's 1903 plus bug fixes and new apps.
That's what I want, right? That's not. It's like mild insider.
It is.
Yeah, it's a mild case.
It's like a wimpy insider.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a
You avoided
safe
the full
insider.
And then I'm going to opt this device out of flighting when the next major release of Windows 10 is installed. No, I'm not. I'm not
Actually.
I'm not going to. I'm just on release preview.
Yeah.
So
That's not non-dangerous.
that's the one that you want to be. If you want the newest stuff, but you don't want to. No, you think I should live more dangerously?
No, actually, I got to be honest. Right now, I wouldn't put anything in the fast ring. It's so unclear what's happening.
Yeah.
The fast ring is testing a release that's not even coming out until next March or April. That's a perpetual beta cycle.
Right. Slow is okay?
ring.
It says recommended. It recommends.
Yeah, but okay. Don't listen to them, Leo. It's
What does my friend Paul say?
yeah, no. We're in a weird gray area right now because the fast ring is testing 2 versions up past.
Right.
There's no testing of the next version as of yet. Release preview is the only way to stay on the current version and just get beta driver updates and new apps and so forth. What is the slow ring even these days? I don't even know what the slow ring is now. It's just screwed up. I don't know why they haven't addressed this yet, but there's been nothing on that front. I have no idea.
Let's see. I should turn on WSL, right?
On that thing?
Can I?
Yeah. Oh, no, you have home. You
I
can't.
have home. I can't. Damn it.
Right.
So that's going to change, though, right? Or no? They said they were going to put that out for. No.
I remember this conversation, but I don't think that's the case.
I felt like they might, but all right.
No, I think they said when terminal.
Eventually.
No, not terminal. The next the Linux kernel comes with 20H1. It'll have Hyper-V, like a lightweight Hyper-V in it.
Oh,
right?
that's right. Which I'll be able to run.
Right, even on home it'll be there,
Right.
but it won't let you use Hyper-V, I don't believe, as a separate virtual machine. It'll just be for running the Linux kernel.
But, okay.
I think.
Yes, so I'll get WSL2, though. I'll get the...
You will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
you will.
Well, that would be...
I
running
enjoy that we struggle with it.
WSL2. WSL2 on the Surface Go.
Right.
Yeah, WSL
Honestly,
is so unusably slow anyway.
Anyway, yeah.
But this is supposed to fix
But this
it.
is supposed to
the
fix
real
it, so
kernel.
this will be the
That's
real
what they're gonna
test.
fix.
Can you
Yeah,
do
that's
it?
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, run that thing full screen. If you could somehow make that the UI or the what do you call it?
The desktop. Yeah.
I meant like the the Progman kind of replacement.
Yeah. Well, truthfully, I could. I just have a Linux USB key here somewhere. I could just probably put that on there. So putting Linux on Surfaces is not always easy. It's not.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not
Works
either.
nice on Lenovo, but what else? I see a big X. I don't know what that means.
That was where we were hoping that they were going to have a new build of Windows 10 before the show started.
That was a placeholder.
Yeah,
did not
it
happen.
did happen.
So we're done. In other words,
We really have nothing. I mean, it's.
I stalled as much as I possibly could.
I think you did a good job.
I gave you as much opportunity to bring up anything as you wanted. And
Do you
I
think-
will tell you, I have a related story to Credge that I can bring up
yes.
just to kill some time.
Yes.
So we were joking on Twitter this week about, I think it was Zach Bowden from Windows Central. He said, what would you name the new Xbox, the Scarlett console, if you could? So I put, what did I put? Andromeda Box or something? And the Credge team immediately went on Twitter and said, Mary Jo Foley is banned from naming any product ever.
They're
Like,
just
stop
joking.
letting her talk about
Joking.
product names.
Joking. That's funny. Scarlett with
I'm
two
having
T's is a name, not a color, right? That's Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that true?
Yes. Scarlett with
Great.
one T is a color, red.
Oh,
Scarlett
I
with
didn't know
two T's is a person's name. Like, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind is two T's. Scarlett Johansson. Those are the only two Scarletts I know.
So I think we have to tell Leo the Mary Jo Foley story.
Oh, God. So they're going, this is you going into the Netherlands?
No, this is
no,
a different. This
This
no,
is a
this
newer
is-
story.
This is another story? Because that was
I
good
think-
and that was not on the show.
I think people
Okay.
would enjoy this story.
Let's do story time. It's now, boys and girls, a new feature on Windows Weekly.
No, this is nuts.
Paul
This
Thurrott
is-
telling tales.
This is nuts.
Okay.
So we had a very casual meetup yesterday at what's it called, Maddie's Tap Room or
Maddie's
something,
Tap Room.
somewhere right around the corner from the convention center. So Brad and I headed over there at 6:15 or whatever time, and we walked through the front door. And Brad said, "Do you think Mary Jo is here yet?" And I said, "No, I don't think so, because I was just chatting with her about her arrival time, and I was thinking I was going to get there late myself, and I said, maybe you and I can head over late together at the same time or whatever." And then he looked up and he said, "There she is." And straight shot through the bar, through the room at the end is the bar. There's Mary Jo sitting at the bar. And okay, I'm wrong again. I get used to this. It's fine. So we kind of wove our way through the crowd, and Brad sat next to Mary Jo, and I walked up behind Mary Jo, and I put my hands on her shoulders, and I said, "Wouldn't it be hilarious if this wasn't Mary Jo?" And Brad looked at the woman who was sitting there that's not Mary Jo, and he says, "That's not Mary Jo." And both of us, Brad and I am not exaggerating when I say we literally hit the floor. Both of us fell to our knees, dying. This woman looked exactly like Mary Jo. Like exactly.
From the back. The back of
From
her
the
hair looks like me.
But
I saw her.
Did she have
later.
amazing eyes?
No, this was from the back. Her eyes were actually not particularly interesting. But
Okay.
anyway, she was really cool about this. I was mortified. I
What
felt
did you
terrible.
do? Did you hug her? Did you kiss her the back of her neck?
I just rubbed her shoulders.
He went like
Oh,
this to
Lord
her.
above.
Some random woman at the bar.
Oh,
Yep.
Lord above.
Yep. So she was
Yeah.
really cool about it. I was like speechless for like 20 minutes. So I eventually called over the bartender and I said, obviously, because she witnessed this and found it hilarious. I said to this woman, first of all, I was like, "Listen, eventually the person I thought you were is going to come through that
And
door.
you'll
And you're going to meet her
see.
because
You'll be
you
so
need to see that she
flattered.
looks,
Yes.
yeah, you look exactly like it."
Yes.
So anyway, I called the bartender over and I was like, "Look, I'm going to pay for everything. She just put her, here's my card. I'm just going to pay whatever she buys. Please let me pay for that." So eventually the other people from our group came in. We moved to a different part of the bar and we were eating and drinking and talking, whatever. The woman who was not Mary Jo is going to leave and now has found out that I paid her bill. And so she came over to say that this was not necessary and blah, blah, blah. But now Mary Jo's there. And so she met Mary Jo, and you can see from I think everyone who walked in that room saw that woman down at the end and thought that was Mary. Everyone did. Like, this was not just me. I mean, everyone agreed it looked exactly like her. But anyway, she was really cool about it and everything, blah, blah, blah. So this woman that I work with asked this other woman where she was from. And she says, "Oh, I live outside of Philadelphia." And I said, "That's interesting." I said, "I also live outside of Philadelphia." And she says, "Oh, please don't say the Lehigh Valley." And I said, "I literally live in the Lehigh Valley."
Oh, my God.
She said, "Where do you live in Lehigh Valley?" And I said, "Lower Macungie." And she says, "Shut up." And I said, "Why?" And she says, "I also live in
Oh, this
Lower
is
Macungie."
really
and I'm like,
weird.
"Stop." So she said the name of the road she
She's
lives
your
on.
neighbor.
It is 1 block from my house.
So
It
now
is.
you can go over and give her back rubs anytime.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah. So
What the?
Well,
That's
how
so
on earth?
bizarre.
how on earth
That's
could
pretty
she
weird.
live? I live in the middle of nowhere, you know?
Well,
And she lives a block away from me. This woman that looks exactly
in the
like Mary
words
Jo.
of our hero, Keanu Reeves. Whoa.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you want to tell the story about Mary Jo entering the Netherlands?
Oh yeah, I'll
Oh,
tell
we
this
did,
one.
we did do that one on the air. Okay, yeah. Then they should do that
No,
one.
you did it before the show.
Right. So last week when Paul and I got to Amsterdam after flying from JFK, we got in the customs line and we both went up to customs agents at the exact same time in neighboring booths. So the custom agent in my booth just looked at me and instead of asking me any questions, just said, "Wow, you have beautiful eyes. Go
Just
ahead."
to be clear, while that's happening, I'm getting grilled.
Right. So
she's
Paul's
like,
over
"Why are you
here, and he's
What are
getting
you
the
doing?
fifth degree, right?
Yeah.
And so
So
then,
I
as I sail through customs, my
Wait a minute.
custom
I
agent
literally
says,
stopped talking to the woman I was talking to. I looked at the guy
Oh
and I
my
said,
God.
"What the hell was that?"
No, and then my customs agent says to me, "He works for you. He's your employee, right?" And I'm like, "Yep." And I just
Oh, come
walked right through.
Oh,
The woman
Oh.
that was just grilling me, hearing this, goes, "You can go too." Like, what?
terrorists don't usually have that jaunty attitude, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah. That is
I'm like,
so
beautiful
funny.
eyes. What?
Either you are smuggling drugs or you're not, but we don't care.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have
Right.
beautiful
Because,
eyes.
you know, you're good.
Just like sailed through, like it was like
Traveling
yeah.
with Paul and Mary Jo. It's our newest podcast.
It is.
on
It could
Twit
be
Network.
travel pick of the week.
Mary
Right.
Jo's Travel Tales.
Travel tale of the week.
And somebody in the chat room
Like-
suggesting, Paul, that next time Mary Jo can't make it to the show, you should check with your neighbor.
Oh, I didn't want to violate this woman's privacy any more than I already did. But from the back, she looked exactly.
Yeah, I understand.
No, somebody said during our meetup, they're like, it'd be hilarious. Put her on Windows Weekly as your special guest this week.
Yes.
I'm like, guys, let's not get too crazy.
The problem is probably from the front she doesn't, right? So
She doesn't.
Everybody
No,
be
she doesn't
puzzled.
look like Mary
Yeah.
Jo from the front, but
Yeah.
And everybody would be like, what?
I don't get it.
Spitting.
I don't see
Spitting.
I don't see the resemblance. All right, we're going to take a little break. We come back of the book. Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. Our show today, as always, brought to you by Hot Stuff, Wasabi, Hot Cloud Storage. Wasabi's an amazing story. Jeff Flowers and David Friend, who were founders of Carbonite, patented a technology to write disk sectors sequentially, and actually not in sectors at all, but just write on those disks, boom, 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 as opposed to in blocks. And it made such a difference in performance and reliability and efficiency that it made Carbonite, the huge success it is. Fast forward to today, they've created a new company called Wasabi. Cloud storage is hot right now. Everybody's moving to the cloud. And I think probably most people go, well, yeah, I'll use Amazon or Google or Microsoft. They're the big three. And it's a no-brainer. I understand. But if you're looking to move to the cloud, I just want you to add a fourth name to that list of things you're checking out, because honestly, Wasabi will save you. It will give you better performance. And it has some features that no one else offers. There is a massive migration to the cloud coming. I mean, there's no question about it. It's cost savings, operational efficiencies. It scales better than any on-prem storage can. And I would submit that if it's done right, on the cloud can be more secure than stuff sitting, in your closet here in the studio. On the cloud, especially if you're on Wasabi. Wasabi has disruptive technology that's turning the industry on its ears. It's so efficient with this patented technique that it's 80% cheaper, 6 times faster than the better-known brands, and as secure as you can get, much more secure than your on-premises. 11.9's durability, but they add some nice features. They have something called immutable storage. You can designate data in your cloud as unchangeable. So Joey from the mailroom can't fumble-fingered erased it. Ransomware can't touch it. They have data center redundancy in the best data centers in the world. They're HIPAA-compliant, FINRA, CJIS compliant, so that says a lot. They also completely support the S3 API. So they cost less than S3. They're more efficient, faster than S3, using the same S3 API, so all your tools will continue to work. You already know how to use it. And they don't charge for API access, and they don't charge for egress. So this is really the best cloud storage I've ever seen. You can calculate the savings for yourself, or try it, bang on it for a month with unlimited storage. When you go to wasabi.com, click the free trial link, and enter the code Windows. And it's also a way of letting them know you heard it here, which helps us a lot. Wasabi, W-A-S-A-B-I, wasabi.com. Yes, it's the same as the sushi. It's the, get it, hot. It's hot cloud storage. Get it? wasabi.com. Click the free trial link, enter the code Windows. David and Jeff are great guys, great friends, and they have created a product you absolutely have to try. It will save you money. It will be faster, more efficient. I just can't sing its praises more highly. Join the movement. Migrate your data to the cloud and do it with confidence, and kind of go, do your own thing with Wasabi. Go to wasabi.com. Don't forget to use the offer code Windows. Thank you, Wasabi, for supporting Windows Weekly. And now it's time for Paul Thurrott and his tip of the week. Paul?
Two more short stories. We just got an email. We're going to an event tonight that related to the show we're at. Did you see this email? So we're going to a place that's a bar that has axe throwing.
Oh, this is all the rage.
It is all the rage.
I saw it on Billions, so I know it's true.
This is the best. It says, at the request of the venue, please wear closed-toe shoes.
Yeah. And armor.
Yeah. This just sounds like a bad idea. Drinks plus axe throwing.
It's all over
bar.
New York, I'm told. Jeff Jarvis was saying, you've
everywhere.
not heard of this? This is the latest thing.
I've never heard of this in my life.
It's in Brooklyn.
It's in Brooklyn.
He's
it's
not
hipsters.
a hipster.
It's
He's
hipsters.
not a hipster.
Yeah. What is
I
the
am,
deal?
but,
Are you going to throw axes, you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
Wow. If you come back,
I'm going to do that nice two-handed overhead, Game of Thrones.
If we have to call you Four Finger Foley from now on, I'm not going to be happy, Mary Jo.
Why can't you type J's?
Nor will I. No, Paul's like, what's going to happen? Mary Jo's going to come in with her own little wheel trolley and her own case of axes because she's going to be an axe throwing
shark. Like a bull shark. She's going to open up the thing, assemble her own personal axe.
I don't need your axe. I brought mine.
Yeah, I travel with one.
Yeah.
How'd you get that through customs? That guy.
I'm a professional axe thrower. And you have beautiful eyes.
I have many talents.
We've been doing interviews here, and one of the interviews we both did was with Tony Redmond, Exchange, Office 365 expert, Microsoft MVP, Petri.com contributor, et cetera, et cetera. And he told us, he goes, I actually listened to your podcast. And I said,
nice.
Really? And he said, yeah. He goes, I listen to it when I'm walking the dog. And I said, so you're saying that you associate the sound of my voice with you cleaning up after your animal?
No.
He says, yeah.
And he actually said yes.
Oh, no.
Chris Capicella, Tony Redmond, everyone walks their dog while listening to Windows Weekly. It's a thing.
It's the thing.
Yeah, so there you go.
I try not to think what our listeners are doing while we're doing the show, honestly. I prefer not to know.
Yeah. I know a lot of them are drinking craft beer because they send me pictures.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, we got one coming up for you, but first...
Yes. I should do this in reverse. I just realized I screwed these up. So let me do the app pick first, if that's okay.
Sure.
Actually, I have a couple of app picks. So let me do everything in exact reverse order. Microsoft To Do is coming to the Mac on June 17, which is, 5 days from now, so you can look forward to that.
That's just so weird.
Yeah.
I think was Wunderlist, because it's Wunderlist, right? I think was Wunderlist on the Mac? I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, was it on the Mac?
Might have been.
I bet it was. I bet it was
too.
I don't remember, but I bet it was. You had mentioned iCloud on the Microsoft story. So this is kind of interesting. It doesn't seem like that big of a story at first blush. Apple makes it's actually implemented as a control panel, by the way. But there's an iCloud app. You can download it from the web. It's available for Windows 7, 8, and 10.
I feel like they did this before.
Oh, this has existed for a long time.
Yeah, okay.
But there's actually one big difference. So this is obviously a desktop bridge app. It's available in the store. So if you're on Windows 10, you can download the iCloud client from the store, and that's great.
Yeah.
But actually, there's some big news hidden in this. This is the first, I believe, third-party app outside of OneDrive to implement file sync in the file system using that Files on Demand feature that previously was only part of OneDrive. And I didn't realize this, but apparently back in February, Microsoft made the APIs open to any developer of cloud storage services. They wanted to use this capability. So if you're familiar with how OneDrive works in Windows 10, you can arbitrarily decide. First of all, you can see all of the stuff in your storage, whether it's synced or not. So you can browse around your whole collection. If you open any file, it automatically downloads it. So now it's available offline. You can right-click on any file, group of folders, individual folders, whatever, and say, I always want this stuff to be available offline. And it works exactly the same. And so, for the hundreds of millions of people who use iPhones and use Windows PCs, like this is a way to access all of your documents, your photos, whatever, in both places. So actually, it's kind of a big deal. It didn't seem so at first, but I think it actually is kind of a big deal. And I'm curious now if Box and Dropbox or whoever else will also implement this technology for their own sync clients. But
it's really kind of a surprise. That's very interesting.
Yeah. So the tip of the week and the original app pick, the big app pick, are both kind of tied together, and that's that Microsoft is really switching up its strategy for Xbox apps on Windows. If you're familiar with how this has been for a long time, there's been an Xbox app, which is sort of a front end to your. It's really a front end to your Xbox profile in many ways, and so you can browse through kind of a stream of what's going on with all of your friends. You can interact with them with messaging. You can see the games that you've been playing and your gamer score and your achievements, and you can look at your screenshots and do things like that. And that app just changed names. If you look in your PC, you'll see it's now called the Xbox Console Companion. And there's a new Xbox app that you can download from the web in beta form, not from the store, by the way, which is kind of interesting. It's not a store app. It's actually technically an Electron app, which you can tell because it uses all of the RAM that you have on your computer when you run it.
Nice.
Literally. It is a beautiful app. It is really nice looking. And what it is a front end to the Game Pass on the PC.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is really kind of nice because you see this kind of view of the store. You can actually see everything in the store. You can buy, games if you want to do that. But you see a view of the store that's kind of Game Pass centric, and it's really nice. It's a good looking app. If you're familiar with the Epic Game Store, for example, which is also a really nice looking app on Windows, it actually looks a lot like that. In fact, I bet that app is also an Electron app, I would imagine. So this is the new Xbox app. And let me see, am I missing any Xbox apps? There's so many of these things. Yeah, so there's also like the Xbox Smart Glass app that I mentioned earlier. That's still kind of kicking around, but I think that's pretty much going by the wayside unless Microsoft is intending to allow that game streaming that's coming to Xbox One through that app. I bet they're not. I bet that's going to go possibly through this main Xbox app now. And then, of course, there's the new Game Bar. And so if you're familiar with the Game Bar and how that's worked in previous versions of Windows 10, you should look at it in 1903 because it's actually changed a lot. It's got a nice big user interface now. It's not just a tiny little inscrutable bar, and it's really, really easy to use. But the big thing here, of course, is this the Xbox app. So I think my article must have a download link, but
it does. In fact, I just clicked it, and I am now downloading.
Yeah, you should check this out. It's actually it's a nice looking app.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
it says it's making things awesome.
It is making things awesome.
That's pretty exciting. Wow.
And not on your computer, but it
far from awesome on a Surface Go.
I don't know what you would play on that thing exactly.
Well, you know what I use this, at least the app for, is when I hear about a game on this show and I'm going home tonight, I will go and buy it and install it so it's there when I get home. I don't use it to play games. Is that what this is mainly for?
No. Yeah, this is for games on the PC. So, this
is not going to be good.
It's not going to be good.
It's not going to make things awesome at all. Yeah.
No, okay. So if you look in your start menu, I'm curious what you see there. So if you go into start and type in Xbox, what you should see, if you're all up to date, is an Xbox Console Companion, right?
I see Xbox. Yes, okay.
Yeah, so that used to be called the Xbox app.
Right. So that's the one I buy games on.
That's right. So when this thing comes up, it will be very familiar. It doesn't look any different.
Right.
But they've changed the name, and that's because I think they want Xbox to be a PC-centric brand on Xbox on the PC. And so the Xbox app now is going to be about PC games.
So this will be for gaming, the Xbox app, and then the console companion will be doing the only thing I could reasonably do on this, which is maybe chat or watch some Mixer videos, but mostly just buy stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
That's correct.
Or just check in on my to see how many game achievements I have here. Let's see. Cranky Hippo's 90 points ahead of me. Darn it. Effing done. 50 points ahead of me. Oh, man, I got nothing. I have 4% on Call of Duty Black Ops, 4% on Minecraft.
4%?
Yeah, because I play it for 3 seconds.
Do you get that for, installing the game? What's the...
Shut up. Shut up. I played 9% at Fallout. That's good. 36% of Mortal Kombat 10. 65%
Fallout
of
76?
Cuphead.
Was that a thing for you?
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Apparently, the developers just came out and kind of said,
we screwed
when
up.
we first shipped that thing, it wasn't actually ready.
Crap.
Yeah.
I really liked the premise because it's open world. I liked the original the previous Fallout, but this one you could build a base, and I mean it was kind of interesting.
Right.
It had little elements of building and stuff in it that I thought were kind of fun. But yeah, they had some severe issues. But that's to me that's called gaming.
Sure.
You got games, I got issues. Enterprise pick of the week from Mary Jo Axel Foley.
Finally, an enterprise pick.
Yeah.
Look at those eyes.
You go right through,
you guys are
girl.
lucky. You guys are lucky I didn't really go nuts on this enterprise pick because the enterprise pick is all about Dynamics 365, your favorite topic, ERP, CRM. This week, Microsoft's having a conference for users of these products. And so they picked this week to announce the next set of features coming to those products. Power BI, Power Apps, Flow, the Power Platform, plus Dynamics 365. The way they delivered this set of features, 350-page document. We could have read that for the duration of the show to, use up some time, but I can just give you a synopsis. So the Dynamics 365 Wave 2 platform is going to be out. It's going to be a set of features that come out between October this year and March next year. So it's a staggered release. They're doing this twice a year, just like Windows is doing twice a year releases. And this time around, unlike the Wave 1 release, which had a ton of new features, like pretty major features, this is mostly incremental updates to their various apps like sales, marketing, customer service, field service. Also, some of the HoloLens apps are getting some minor updates. There are a couple of major things in the Wave 2 update. Power BI is getting a big facelift. It's also getting a bunch of AI functionality built in. And there's a new feature called AI Builder, which is a Power Platform feature that's meant to be like a low-code, no-code kind of tool for people who use Power BI analytics. So if you want to learn more, I have a link on my site to the 350-page guide to all of these products.
A little light reading for this summertime, for your beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Just take it on out, print it two-sided, save some paper.
Right.
Take it to the beach.
Sounds like a fun read.
What a fun read.
Yeah.
And Paul's going to like the, why is there green tea in my Power Analytics?
That's showing some of the new look and feel of the AI features.
Got it.
Little machine learning / training kind of thing going on there.
Great. That'll be fun. And Paul's going to like your code name, I think.
He will. Code name is Delphi.
Ooh.
Not that Delphi.
Oh.
Not that Delphi.
Oh.
No.
I thought, Paul, you could issue reissue the book.
He could.
The Delphi 3 Super Bible.
He could.
I literally just watched Anders' interview where he talked about Delphi.
Oh, nice.
This Delphi, though, is the code name for the Xbox Elite V2 controller. I thought,
wow.
You know what? We didn't have enough Xbox news on the show today, so why not have a code name pick that was an Xbox one? We learned this from Brad Sams. He said that was the code name.
He tweeted it.
So I am curious what you guys think about why it might be Delphi. I don't know.
Oracle of? I don't know.
I know. So I did a little search. I just put in the words Delphi and Scarlett with two
Yeah,
T's.
that's what I was wondering.
And so here's what comes up in the Call of Duty wiki. In the hidden
I like
heart.
where this is going.
The hidden heart of ancient Delphi, Scarlett, Diego, Bruno, and Shaw must rescue the fabled Oracle.
Wait, what? I'm sorry. What was this in?
It's just some statement in the Call of Duty wiki.
No, but what's this referencing? What?
No, I just put it. I said I just put these two words.
Scarlett Rose is a
Delphi
character in Black Ops 4.
What?
Yeah, you don't remember this?
Well, so there's no single-player campaign in Black Ops 4.
Oh.
So
Scarlett Rose, a playable character in it's in Zombies.
That's
in the
why.
Chaos story. So there you go.
That was just a random guess that it might be all connected.
That's pretty
that way.
obscure.
It is pretty
really
obscure.
I've also searched.
It's also really recent.
At the Royal Windsor Horse Show, Scarlett and Delphi won the Clip My Horse competition at the Royal Windsor Horse Show last year. Do you think
This
that
thing
has
has
anything
been
to do
in
with it?
development for years, for one thing, right? There's no way it's either.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay. Well, we're all puzzled now.
But that is curious. I'm trying to think if there are any other.
Scarlett
Xbox code names
Bays
that
is
are
a band
Greek
in
or-
Delphi, Indiana.
Delphi
You know what?
Motor Parts was a company that serviced GM vehicles.
No, my guess is it has something to do with gaming, right? I mean, in some way.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
maybe not.
What about
But
Olympic gaming?
I don't know. Anyway, the codename Delphi does seem to be a real codename, and Scarlett is a real codename. So
Yeah.
if any of our listeners...
I know what it is. So Delphi is considered the belly button of the ancient world. Scarlett Johansson has a great belly button.
Fair enough.
No?
I don't think this is the connection, but
Okay, I'm working on it.
You're trying a lot of different theories. I like it.
There is.
Road is a playable character.
I don't think it. I think it can't be that. That's just
Yeah,
so
I think
obscure.
it's, like you said, obscure and recent too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, Delphi was the codename pick.
I think Chris Capicella is going to have to call
I
us.
want to love this pick
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you should.
because of the name.
Should.
Yeah, because it's
Exactly.
because of the thing
It's
and the
so
name.
disappointingly not related to Delphi.
It's almost like they named it Thurrott or something.
Right.
Yes.
I think it's secretly it's a little wave, a nod to Paul.
Yeah.
Or there's only so many code names in the world. We're going to reuse this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be also.
You know, let's all have a beer and think about it. Mary Jo, do you have a pick?
I do. I have a pick from the local D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. Burley Oak is the name of the brewery. It's based in Berlin, Maryland. I've had a couple of their beers before, but you don't get as many up in New York. But here you get quite a selection. Surprisingly, last night I had an IPA. Surprise! Burley Oak Lost is the name of it. And, you know, if Paul were still drinking beer, I would have let him have a taste of this one because it was not really bitter. It was kind of a smooth, not super hoppy IPA. Easy drinking, I would even say. And very
You
well
would
made.
say that.
No. So here's my frame of reference.
That's how she got you.
This beer, Lost IPA from Burley Oak, 48 IBUs, which are international bittering units. That tells you how bitter a beer is. The beers I had in California, 100 IBUs basically,
Wow.
so half of the bitterness of those kind of beers.
I think, honestly, they shouldn't call it bitterness. That's really hurting the brain.
It is. I know.
It's more
Although-
like a lemony or a crispness. It's a little tart maybe, but bitter sounds bad.
I don't know. As a bitter person, I do like my bitter beers.
Well, they do. You know, English bitters, right?
Right. Yep.
Is that an IPA? Bitters?
No, bitters.
Joe.
That's a dark beer, right?
Yes, Paul.
When I say the name Santorini, what
Yes.
comes to mind?
It's the shell for Windows Light.
Oh, jeez, I was
Right.
thinking that Greek island. You know, the beautiful with the blue sands.
Santorini is also a Greek island,
Yes.
and Delphi is a Greek
Oh,
location.
yes.
Do you think that those could be
It's
related?
all Greece?
No, game controller and Windows Lite.
I'm just saying.
Maybe there's
You're
is
gone
it
far.
where
There's a Greek
does
connection.
Panos Panay hail from?
He's Greek, right?
Uh-huh.
It's follow the money, Mary Jo.
Mary Jo,
Is there much-
cherchez la femme.
That's all I'm
Okay.
saying.
All
don't
right,
know what it
maybe
means, but-
Panos is just picking every Greek code name for anything to do with anything that he can.
Oh God, that was so nonsensical. I actually really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was fun. Good way to end the show. You'll find Paul at Thurrott.com. That's his blog, THURROTT.com. His books are at leanpub.com, including the greatest field guide to Windows 10 ever written. Because it's the only field guide to Windows 10 ever written. Newly updated for 1903. It's fabulous. Get the posters, too. Mary Jo Foley writes about Microsoft for ZDNet at allaboutmicrosoft.com. And together they assemble every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1800 UTC. And then you can assemble here if you want to listen to us live. Just tell your Echo or your other smart assistant, hey, you, listen to or play. I always say listen. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why I use that weird voice. But anyway, play Windows Weekly podcast for the most recent version, or play Twit Live on TuneIn, and you'll hear what we're doing live if you're at that time. If you're listening live, nice to be in the chat room at irc.twit.tv. That's fun. And you can be part of the game we play at the end of every show. What the hell should we call this one? And I think we have some very good selections this time.
Someone just sent me an axe throwing video.
Oh, man. I am so worried about you tonight. Do it before the beer. How about that?
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
Yeah. Next week, you're going to be back
I'm
home?
going to be at home.
Woohoo!
Are you, Paul? I am. But
No more anonymous
Yeah,
hotel
I'm
rooms.
gonna be home for a few weeks. Thank
Good.
God.
Good. You can get copies of the show at twit.tv/WW, or better yet, subscribe to Windows Weekly in your favorite podcast application. That helps us. It helps you. Everybody's happy. And we can all go home with a smile on our face. I know I am. Thanks, Paul and Mary Jo. We'll see you next time on Windows Weekly.